Hey, Mr. J here, and today we'll be looking at one of my latest creations, which is another Lego yacht. In this video, I will go over all the features and details that this model has to offer. Now before we dive deep into all that, I did want to tell you right off the bat that there are instructions available for this model, and you can build it yourself if you're interested. But more on that later in the video. As you can see, this model is much smaller than my previous mega yacht build, and there's good reason for this. When designing it, my goal was to come up with a super sleek model that had lots of details but also did not take up lots of space or break the bank. That meant going midi scale and using far less pieces. And even though it's smaller, I was still able to implement many fine details and features. It sits at 2,977 pieces altogether. It's exactly 24 inches long and 4.72 inches wide. As for height, it's just over 7 inches tall with the stands. All in all, even at those dimensions, it is still a pretty good sized model. Here it is next to a banana for scale. And my dogs say hi, as you can see. Hey, you know what? Let's use them for scale too. And why not show it next to my previous build, the mega yacht? As you can see, comparing these two side by side really shows the difference in scale. Naturally, I went with a darker color tone as that's the style I prefer. The hull is entirely black, but I gave the upper deck and hardtop a gray color scheme to help give it some contrast. There are also many metallic silver elements to help give it that luxury feel. I took many design cues from a real-world yacht called the Olican by Tencoa Yachts in Italy. It's not exactly the same, but there are many similarities. Now, when designing any Lego model, it's very important to me that they are strong and sturdy. I also avoid using any illegal building techniques. I essentially want the building experience to be as close to a real Lego set as possible. As for this model, it is extremely strong and durable as it has a fully reinforced Technic frame. Here's me whipping it around for you so you can see what I mean. This extra strength has also given it some heft, as it weighs 8 pounds, which is pretty heavy for a model this size. It can also be split into 3 modules, revealing some interior spaces, but we'll get more into that in the video later. So with that being said, let's take a look at all the features. Why don't we start from the bottom and work our way up? Turning the ship over, you can see that the bottom hull is smooth and almost completely studless. I used a stud reversal technique to attach these 2x4 slope pieces upside down, giving the hull a nice rounded shape just as it would be on an actual ship in real life. You can also see here that there's 2 openings for the stands that elevate the model. For the stern, I went with a more traditional design. Instead of propeller pods, this yacht has 2 propeller shafts along with 2 rudders. I also built the propeller shafts at a slight angle, something that is quite common on many ships. Alright, let's turn it back over and take a look at the bow. I really wanted to get a natural looking curved shape, which is rather hard to do with Lego. That being said, I'm pretty happy with how this turned out. For extra detail, I also added these anchor bay doors using some metallic silver pieces. Moving on to the sides of the ship, you can see I tried to make the profile very sleek and aggressive. I accomplished this by keeping the ship's overall profile low and adding 45-degree tiles to most of the window edges on the ship. There were some interesting building techniques employed to pull this off, but I definitely think it was worth it. One of my favorite sections is this area right here where the black paneling cuts away to reveal the metallic silver underneath. Another feature that might be hard to notice is that the top deck has a slight overhang on either side of the ship. This is very subtle, but it adds that little bit of extra depth to the model. Okay, let's move on to the stern. Naturally, we have a swimming platform at the very rear of the ship, and on either side there are stairs leading up to the next deck. Up here there is a sunk-in sitting area complete with a wraparound couch and a table. Just forward of that is some more deck space with an entrance to the interior. From here there are corridors leading to midship stairways on both sides of the ship. I also threw in some metallic silver here for the handrails, which I really think makes the model pop. Moving up the stairways brings us to the upper deck. Starting at the rear, we can find a hot tub and some seating. There are also some deck chairs here as well. A bit further up, we can find the outdoor dining space complete with 6 chairs and a big table. Moving up towards the bow deck brings us to another large hot tub. There are also some large lounging couches between the hot tub and the wheelhouse. Last for exteriors is the hardtop. It extends from the wheelhouse all the way to the back and hangs over the rear dining area. I went for a smooth, rounded look, trying to keep it minimal in design for the most part. To help break it up, I added these metallic silver stripes on either side running from end to end. And naturally in the center stands the radar and communications tower. Now that we've gone over the exterior, let's look at the interior spaces starting with the engine room. Of course, the main feature here is the two large engines on either side. Between them is a walkway with some caution markings. Throughout the entire room, I also added various controls, gauges, tanks, and equipment, just as you'd find in the engine room of an actual ship. Moving to the forward section of the yacht, this is where the galley, dining, and living spaces are. For the galley, we have a large island, and behind that, some counter space and cupboards. Even at this midi scale, I was able to add in little details such as a stove, a microwave, and a fridge. Across from the galley is the dining area, complete with a table and some wraparound seating. As for the living space, there are all the essentials: a couch, a coffee table, and of course a TV. There's also a little door here that leads to a bedroom. As you'd expect, in here there's a bed, 2 nightstands, and some storage. As for the upper deck interior, let's start with the wheelhouse. In here we can find the helm station and 3 chairs. Behind that is a control panel with some navigation equipment, and behind that is a fancy sitting area with 2 couches and a table. On either side of the room there are doorways that lead to the outer walkways. Lastly, this door in the center leads to another bedroom complete with a bed, some nightstands, and a TV. Now, there is a lot more to this build, but those are the main features that I wanted to focus on. Naturally, I'm biased, but I felt the build experience for this one was very fun and engaging. I actually built this for the first time live on stream, and it was extremely enjoyable to have people along with me for the ride. The streams are available on the channel if you want to give them a watch. Links are in the video description. Now, as I mentioned before, if you want to build this model yourself, I do have fully detailed instructions available on Rebrickable. There are even 2 different variants you can choose from: the dark color tone version like the one featured in this video, and there's a white version as well. The white one uses identical pieces as the dark one, just with some of the colors swapped. Naturally, the links to these instructions are also in the video description. Now, the build process and instructions have been tested for ease of building and convenience, and I can promise you this, it's a smooth and fun building experience that I really do think you'll enjoy. The instructions also come with a parts list and a Bricklink Studio file, so ordering the parts won't be a problem. And speaking of the parts, I made sure to not use any rare or legacy pieces for this build. All the parts chosen are common and readily available. Now, if you want even more insight on the building process, I do have a full build time-lapse video available on my channel as well. Take a look if you want to see exactly how this thing was built from start to finish. You'll find the link below. Highly recommend you check it out. With that being said, I'd like to thank you for checking out the video. Let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments. I'd love to know if you liked or disliked this new yacht design, as I may do similar builds like this in the future if there's actual interest for models at this scale. If you found the video enjoyable, please consider giving it a like, maybe even subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I'd greatly appreciate it, as it helps push the algorithm and gets this type of content out to more people who enjoy the world of Lego building just like you and I. And with that, I want to thank you for watching one last time. I'm Mr. J, and you have a good day.